A lot of people think respect comes from saying the perfect thing, explaining yourself well, winning the argument, proving your point, being sharp, impressive, quick, convincing. But if you've lived long enough, you've probably noticed something strange. The people who talk the most are not always the ones people respect the most. In fact, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes the person who says less gets listened to more. The person who doesn't rush to explain gets taken more seriously. The person who stays calm, doesn't overshare, doesn't react to every little thing, doesn't fill every silence, somehow carries more weight. And that can feel confusing at first, because most of us were taught that if you want to be understood, you need to explain more. If you want respect, you need to prove yourself. If you want people to value you, you need to make your case clearly and often. But real life doesn't always work like that. A lot of the time, the more you talk, the more people see your need. Your need to be understood. Your need to be approved of. Your need to correct the image. Your need to defend yourself. Your need to manage how people see you. And once people feel that need too strongly, something shifts. The words may still be true, but the energy starts losing power. That's what we're talking about in this video. Why people respect you more when you say less. Not because silence is magic. Not because speaking is bad. Not because you should become cold or emotionally unavailable, but because there's a kind of quietness that signals something deeper. Inner control, self-trust, emotional discipline, a lack of desperation. Carl Jung would probably say that the more a person is rooted in themselves, the less they need constant outward confirmation. And that changes how they speak. They don't speak to chase control. They don't speak to force perception. They don't speak to anxiously hold together an identity that feels fragile underneath. They speak when there's something real to say. And that kind of presence? People feel it, even if they can't explain why. So let's get into it. Because once you understand this, you stop talking just to fill space, and you start noticing how much power people give away through unnecessary words. 1. Saying less makes people feel your self-control. The first thing people pick up on when you say less is not just silence, it's control. Emotional control, social control, mental control. When somebody reacts to everything, comments on everything, explains everything, responds to every provocation, corrects every misunderstanding, fills every pause, it can create the impression that they are being run by the moment, like they need to release something constantly. But when someone can pause, when they can let a moment breathe, when they don't need to answer instantly, when they can hold themselves without leaking everything they feel, that reads as strength. Even if nobody says it out loud, people register it. Because most people are not used to being around someone who doesn't immediately spill their internal state all over the room. And that's really what respect often responds to. Not loud confidence, containment, the ability to have thoughts, emotions, reactions, and still choose what leaves your mouth. Jung talked a lot about the unconscious, how it spills into behavior when it isn't being observed. And honestly, that's what endless talking often is. Unprocessed material spilling outward. Anxiety, ego, fear, the need to manage the atmosphere, the need to avoid silence, the need to keep control of how you're being seen. But when you say less, people feel that you are not entirely ruled by those things. They feel that there is space between what happens to you and what you do with it. And that space creates gravity. It makes people lean in more. Not because you're playing games, but because self-control is rare, and rare things carry value. 2. The less you explain, the less you look available for manipulation. This one is huge. A lot of people lose respect, not because what they're saying is wrong, but because they explain too much. They explain why they said no, why they were late, why they need distance, why they feel hurt, why they don't want something, why they changed their mind, why they deserve better, why they reacted the way they did. And sometimes explanation comes from sincerity, but a lot of the time it comes from discomfort, from not trusting that your position can stand on its own, from needing everyone to agree before you feel okay. And people feel that. They feel when your words are carrying truth, and when your words are carrying anxiety. When you over-explain, certain people start sensing access. They sense that if they push a little more, you'll keep talking, keep justifying, keep defending, keep trying to be understood. And that changes the power dynamic. Now they are not just hearing you, they are managing you. That's why people often respect a simple, grounded sentence more than a 5-minute explanation. I'm not available for that. That doesn't work for me. I've made my decision. I'm not discussing this further. There's weight in that, because it signals that your truth does not need excessive decoration to survive. Jung might say that people with a weak connection to themselves depend heavily on outer reflection. They need people to confirm their position so they can remain steady inside it. But the more rooted a person becomes, the less they need to over-negotiate their reality. And that's where respect starts growing. Because respect often appears the moment people realize, this person cannot be moved just because I'm uncomfortable. That doesn't require aggression. It just requires less unnecessary language. 3. Silence makes people project, and that gives you information. This is one of the most overlooked reasons people respect quiet people more. When you say less, people reveal more. Not always intentionally, but they do. The more you talk, the more you control the atmosphere. The more you explain, the more you fill in the blanks. The more you give away, the less room there is for the other person to show themselves. But when you stay quiet a little longer, people start talking. They over-explain. They ramble. They reveal insecurities. They show their intentions. They show what they assume about you. They show how comfortable they are with silence. They show whether they need control. Silence is a mirror, and a lot of people get restless in front of mirrors. That's why calm, quiet people often see more than loud people do. Not because they're psychic, because they leave enough space for reality to expose itself. Jung understood projection very well. People don't just react to what is there. They react to what they bring into the situation. So when you say less, you stop overshaping the interaction. And now other people start filling the gap with themselves, their ego, their fear, their assumptions, their neediness, their hidden motives. That gives you information, and people unconsciously respect those who don't need to dominate the moment to understand it. They can feel when someone is observing instead of scrambling, and there's something naturally authoritative about that. Not loud authority, quiet authority. The kind that comes from not needing to constantly impose yourself on every moment. 4. Saying less makes your words heavier. When someone talks all the time, their words lose mass, not because they're unintelligent, not because they have nothing to say, but because repetition weakens impact. If every thought becomes speech, speech loses its force. That's just how people work. But when you're more selective, when you don't speak just to hear yourself, when you don't jump in constantly, when you only say what actually matters, people start paying more attention when you do speak, because now your words feel chosen. And chosen words carry more weight than emotional overflow. This is one reason people with calm energy often seem more respected in a room. They don't compete with noise. They don't fight for attention every second. They don't treat speech like a nervous habit. So when they finally say something, it lands. You've probably experienced this before. There's always that one person who doesn't say much, but when they do, everybody listens a little more closely. Why? Because restraint creates value. Jung might frame this in terms of psychic economy. If your energy is scattered everywhere, people feel the fragmentation. If your energy is gathered, people feel the coherence. And coherent people are easier to respect, because they sound like they belong to themselves, not like they're trying to convince themselves in real time. That's the key. A lot of people speak from inner instability, and when someone speaks from inner stability instead, it stands out immediately. 5. People trust calm more than emotional flooding. Let's be honest. A lot of people don't lose respect because they speak. They lose respect because they speak from emotional overflow. They talk too much when they're angry, too much when they're rejected, too much when they feel misunderstood, too much when they're anxious, too much when they need reassurance. And once emotion takes over speech, the message itself starts losing clarity. People no longer hear just your point. They hear your dysregulation too. That doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But if it becomes a pattern, it changes how people receive you. Because people trust steadiness. They trust people who can feel deeply without immediately becoming verbally chaotic. And that's really what say less means in a deeper sense. It doesn't mean suppress everything. It means don't let every emotion become instant language. Give it a second. Sit with it. Let it settle enough that when you speak, you are actually choosing your words instead of being dragged by them. Jung believed that what's unconscious tends to possess us. And that's exactly what happens when a person can't stop talking under emotional pressure. They are possessed by the moment, by the wounded ego, by fear, by panic, by the need to fix perception. But when someone can pause before speaking, they send a different message. I am not absent from my own mind right now. That's powerful, and it earns respect, even from people who can't name why it affects them, because calm creates trust, and trust creates respect. Not fake calm, not icy detachment. Real calm, the kind that comes from not surrendering your whole mouth to every passing feeling. 6. The more secure you are, the less you need to narrate yourself. This one goes deep. A lot of talking is really self-narration. I need you to understand why I am this way. I need you to understand what I meant. I need to explain who I really am. I need to fix how this looks. I need to manage your perception of me. Again, sometimes that's normal. We all do it. But some people live there. They are constantly narrating themselves to keep their image intact. And ironically, that often lowers respect. Because true security doesn't need constant translation. If you know who you are, you don't feel the same urgency to explain every layer of yourself to everyone all the time. You let some things stand. You let some misunderstandings pass. You let some people think what they think. You stop treating every social moment like a courtroom where your identity is on trial. And that shift changes everything, because people can feel when you are speaking from self-knowledge, and when you are speaking from image maintenance. Jung would probably connect this to the persona again. The more identified a person is with their social mask, the more energy they use protecting it. But the more connected a person is to the deeper self, the less frantic they become about managing appearances. They don't disappear. They don't become silent robots. They just stop trying to explain their existence into being valid. And that kind of energy is deeply respected because it feels mature. It feels like someone who has already had the conversation with themselves and no longer needs every room to finish it for them. 7. When you say less, you stop rewarding low-quality conversations. This matters a lot. Sometimes talking too much is not just about insecurity. Sometimes it's because you're participating in conversations that don't deserve that much of you. Petty arguments, pointless drama, passive-aggressive comments, people fishing for reactions, people baiting you, people trying to pull you into defending your worth. And every time you fully enter those conversations with too much energy, you accidentally reward them. You teach people that they can access a lot of you with very little substance. But when you say less, something changes. You stop feeding nonsense. You stop extending trivial conflict. You stop handing out explanations where discernment would have been enough. You stop debating with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And that creates respect. Not because silence is always the answer, but because selectiveness signals standards. It tells people, not everything gets access to me. Not every comment earns my energy. Not every misunderstanding deserves a paragraph. Not every provocation gets a response. That's self-respect in motion. And people may not like it at first, but they usually respect it more than they respect verbal desperation. Jung would say that unconscious dynamics need participation to keep going. A lot of conflict survives because two people keep feeding it. But if one person refuses to over-participate, the whole atmosphere changes. Now there is space. Now there is consequence. Now the other person has to sit with themselves more. That often earns respect, even from people who are testing you, because restraint can communicate standards more clearly than 100 speeches ever will. 8. Mystery isn't about hiding. It's about not giving everything away too cheaply. Let's talk about something people feel but rarely say clearly. People respect a little mystery. Not fake mystery. Not manipulative silence. Not pretending to be detached. Real mystery. The kind that comes naturally when someone doesn't constantly empty themselves into the room, when they don't overshare right away, when they don't explain every feeling instantly, when they don't reveal every thought just because there's space to fill. That creates depth, because now people sense there's more to you than what's immediately visible, and depth naturally earns more respect than constant availability. Why? Because people value what feels grounded, not what feels eager to be consumed. When you speak too much too soon, sometimes you flatten yourself. You give away the whole map before anyone has earned the journey. But when you pace yourself, when you let people discover you slowly, when you don't dump your whole inner world on every surface-level connection, people tend to take you more seriously, not because they know less about you, but because what they do know feels deliberate. Jung might describe this as having a relationship with the inner world that isn't constantly outsourced. You don't need to externalize everything immediately. You can keep something within. You can process before performing. You can contain without suppressing. That creates a certain depth people feel instinctively. And instinctively, people respect depth more than oversharing, because depth suggests substance. Oversharing often suggests hunger. 9. Quiet people often look more powerful because they are harder to read, harder to move. Here's something uncomfortable but true. People are always reading each other. Who's needy? Who's reactive? Who's trying too hard? Who's easy to provoke? Who needs approval? Who crumbles when challenged? And the more readable your desperation is, the less weight you tend to carry. Not because people are cruel, but because emotional predictability changes the dynamic. If people know exactly how to get a reaction out of you, if they know you'll explain yourself endlessly, if they know you'll panic when misunderstood, if they know you'll overshare under pressure, then they stop experiencing you as solid. But if you can hold your center a little more, if you don't reveal every insecurity through speech, if you don't rush to prove, defend, or react, people start experiencing you differently, as steadier, more self-contained, harder to shake. And yes, that naturally creates more respect, because people respect what feels anchored. Jung understood that much of power is psychological, not performative. It's not always about dominance. Sometimes it's simply about not being so easily penetrated by the room, and saying less helps with that, because it creates a little distance between your inner world and everyone else's access to it. Not a wall, a boundary. And boundaries create structure. Structure creates presence. Presence creates respect. 10. The deepest reason. Saying less shows that you don't need to control everything. This is probably the deepest point of all. A lot of talking is control. Trying to control how you're seen. Trying to control the misunderstanding. Trying to control the outcome. Trying to control the atmosphere. Trying to control how much someone likes you. Trying to control whether they leave. Trying to control whether they think well of you. And ironically, the harder you try to control all that through words, the weaker you often look. Because control has tension in it. People feel the strain. But when you say less, you often signal something much more powerful. You can tolerate uncertainty. You can tolerate not being perfectly understood. You can tolerate silence. You can tolerate someone having the wrong opinion. You can tolerate a little mystery. You can tolerate not fixing everything in real time. That tolerance reads as inner strength, because it means your identity is not collapsing every time reality becomes a little unclear. Jung would say that mature people are able to live with more ambiguity. They don't need to force immediate resolution to feel okay. And that's exactly what quieter strength looks like. It's not about becoming passive. It's not about letting people disrespect you. It's about no longer being so terrified of imperfection, misunderstanding, or temporary discomfort that you have to talk over every gap. And the moment you stop needing that kind of control, people feel something different from you. Not emptiness, presence. And presence is what people respect most. So why do people respect you more when you say less? Because saying less often signals more. More self-control, more self-trust, more emotional discipline, more selectiveness, more ability to observe, more ability to hold your center without constantly forcing the room to confirm it. It makes your words heavier, your energy steadier, your boundaries clearer, your presence harder to ignore. And no, this doesn't mean never speak. It doesn't mean become cold. It doesn't mean silence yourself. It means speak from intention, not anxiety. Speak because there is something real to say. Not because silence made you uncomfortable. Not because misunderstanding made you panic. Not because your ego needed immediate repair. Because the truth is, a lot of respect is lost, not in what people say, but in the energy of why they're saying it. And when your words stop coming from desperation, they start carrying something else. Weight. So maybe the lesson isn't simply say less. Maybe it's this. Need less from your words. Need less control. Need less approval. Need less immediate understanding. Need less reassurance through constant explanation. That's where the shift happens. And if you've ever experienced this in your own life, I want to ask you something for the comment section. When did you first notice that saying less actually made people take you more seriously? Was it in friendships, dating, family, or work? I think a lot of people have a story about that. And once you see it, you really can't unsee it. Because sometimes the strongest thing a person can say is only what actually needs to be said. If this spoke to you, comment. Less words, more weight.